All right, today we are diving into something that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a science fiction movie, but it is 100% real. It turns out scientists have found what is essentially a pause button inside the brain, a command that can bring the entire body to a dead stop. This is a wild one, so let's get right into it.
So just think about that for a second. What if you could just pause? Not like take a break, but a literal full-body freeze, right in the middle of whatever you're doing. Does our brain even have a function like that?
Well, believe it or not, the answer is a huge yes. Researchers have actually pinpointed a very specific cluster of brain cells that act like a global off switch for movement. We're talking about a biological command that can freeze any action instantly.
So the big question is, how on earth did they find this? And maybe even more amazing, how did they figure out how to flip that switch themselves? Let's take a look at the clever science behind it.
Okay, so these are the stars of the show, the CHOX-10 PPN neurons. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, I know. But all you really need to know is that they're a special type of neuron, and they live in a part of the brainstem called the PPN. This is the command center we're about to see in action.
To actually control these specific neurons, the scientists used this brilliant technique called optogenetics. Here's the simple version. First, they used a harmless virus to deliver a special protein that makes only those CH10 neurons sensitive to light. Then, they implanted a tiny fiber optic cable right above them. And then the magic happens. A flash of blue light down that cable, and bam! They can turn those exact neurons on, just like a light switch. It's basically a remote control for a tiny part of the brain.
And when they flipped that switch, oh man, the results were just incredible. It wasn't just a simple stop. They saw something totally unique, a phenomenon they ended up calling the pause and play effect.
And I mean, the effect was immediate and dramatic. Just look at this chart. The first bar shows the mouse moving along at a pretty good clip. But the second the light turns on, that second bar, its speed just plummets to almost nothing. It's a near total instantaneous stop.
And get this. This wasn't just about stopping walking. This command worked on everything. It didn't matter if the mouse was walking, cleaning itself, or even standing up on its hind legs. Activating these neurons froze the action, period. It is a true full-body stop command.
So this is what they mean by pause and play. And this is the part that's really mind-blowing. The action isn't just stopped, it's frozen in time. The brain holds on to a memory of the exact posture, the exact movement. And when the light turns off, the animal doesn't start over, it resumes from the precise point where it was interrupted.
You know, the researchers themselves said it perfectly. It's like the nervous system just keeps a memory of what it was doing, and then once it's released, it picks up right where it left off. Seriously, it's exactly like pausing a video and then hitting play again.
But here's where the story takes another surprising turn. This isn't just about muscles and movement. Activating this circuit triggers a halt across the entire system.
The researchers found this amazing triad of effects that all happen at the exact same time. You get the full-body motor arrest, but you also get a complete stop in breathing, that's called apnea, and the heart rate slows way down, which is known as bradycardia. Just think about that. One single command triggers 3 massive system-wide responses. And the effect on breathing is just staggering. On average, when these neurons fired, the respiratory rate dropped by 94%. I mean, for that brief moment of stimulation, breathing essentially just shuts down. It really shows you how incredibly powerful this one little circuit is.
Okay, so right about now, you might be thinking, hold on, isn't this just like when an animal freezes in fear? And that's a fantastic question, something the researchers wanted to know too. What they found is that this pause is completely different from the kind of defensive freezing you see when an animal is scared.
This table here breaks down the differences really clearly. First, recovery. The PPN-induced stop is over in an instant, less than 150 milliseconds. A fear freeze takes way longer to shake off. Then there's posture. In this pause, the animal just freezes in whatever position it was in, but in a fear freeze, it goes into a very specific rigid stance. And finally, the big one, breathing. In the PPN pause, breathing stops. In a fear response, it just slows down.
So the bottom line is this. Pause and play is like a quick, clean, temporary interruption of whatever the body was doing. Defensive freezing, on the other hand, is a totally different state of being. It's a prolonged, emotional response to a threat. They are not the same thing at all.
Okay, so we've established this incredible neural circuit exists. But what is it even for? Why does any of this matter? Well, this discovery actually has some really big implications for everything from understanding basic animal behavior to potentially improving treatments for human diseases like Parkinson's.
So, scientists think this circuit might be used naturally when an animal needs to just pause for a second to check something out, like an unexpected noise or something it sees in its peripheral vision. It's not a threat, but it's important enough to warrant a momentary pause to shift attention. And of course, by understanding a fundamental stop command, we can learn a ton about what goes wrong in motor control disorders.
And here's where it could have a direct impact on people's lives. A treatment called deep brain stimulation is already used for Parkinson's, and it often targets the exact same area of the brain where these neurons are located. Now that we know this stop circuit is there, doctors could potentially fine-tune those therapies to make sure they avoid hitting it, which could lead to much better results for patients.
Finding this pause command is a massive step forward, but it also just blows the doors wide open to so many other questions, right? It makes you wonder, what other hidden commands are just waiting in there to be found? Is there a play, a rewind, or a fast-forward button hidden somewhere in the complex wiring of our brains? We'll have to wait and see.